Imagine waking up, not to an alarm clock, not to a phone buzzing with notifications, but to the sound of a rooster, the smell of smoke from last night's fire, and your mother already awake, grinding grain by hand. No school, no homework, no weekends, just work every single day. This was childhood, thousands of years ago. And today, we're going to walk through an entire day in the life of an ancient child, from the moment they woke up to the moment they fell asleep. This is Decode Human. Let's go back in time. In most ancient societies, whether in Mesopotamia, Egypt, early Europe, or ancient China, children didn't sleep in. The sun was the alarm clock, and the moment it rose, the household rose with it. There was no childhood the way we think of it today. No separate stage of life meant for play and learning before real responsibility began. From as young as 5 or 6 years old, children were expected to contribute to the family's survival. Because in the ancient world, survival was the full-time job of everyone in the family, including the kids. The first task of the day was almost always food and water. Young children were sent to fetch water from the river or the village well, sometimes walking long distances, carrying heavy. Older children helped prepare the morning meal, grinding grain into flour, tending the cooking fire, or feeding the family's animals, goats, chickens, or pigs, depending on the region. If the family farmed, children as young as 6 were already in the fields, pulling weeds, scaring birds away from crops, or collecting fallen fruit and firewood. There was no getting ready for school. There was only getting ready for work. Here's something fascinating. Ancient children didn't learn from textbooks. They learned by watching, copying, and doing. Girls, in most ancient cultures, worked closely alongside their mothers, learning to cook, weave cloth, sew clothing, and care for younger siblings. By the time a girl was 10 or 11, she often already knew how to run an entire household. Boys typically followed their fathers, learning farming, hunting, fishing, or a trade like pottery, metalwork, or carpentry. In agricultural societies, this meant plowing fields, herding animals, or learning to build and repair tools. Education wasn't in a classroom, it was in the field, the kitchen, the workshop, and the marketplace. Only a small number of children, usually from wealthy families, ever learned to read or write. In places like ancient Egypt or Mesopotamia, formal education was a privilege, reserved mostly for boys training to become scribes, priests, or officials. But here's the twist. Ancient children weren't robots. They still found time to play. Archaeologists have discovered ancient toys all over the world. Clay dolls in Egypt, spinning tops in Rome, dice and board games in Mesopotamia, and even miniature animal figurines carved from wood or bone. Children played tag, wrestled, swam in rivers, and made up games with sticks, stones, and balls made of animal hide stuffed with straw. Play wasn't scheduled. It happened in the gaps between chores. A few minutes here, an hour there, usually with siblings or neighborhood kids. Childhood had joy in it. It just wasn't the center of daily life the way it often is today. By the time a child reached about 12 or 13, in many ancient cultures they were treated almost like a young adult. Boys might begin serious training for a trade, join their father on hunting trips, or in some societies even begin military training. Girls in many cultures were preparing for marriage, sometimes marrying as early as their early teens, expected to manage a household of their own soon after. Childhood in the modern sense was short. There was little time reserved just for growing up. You grew up by doing the work of an adult, earlier and faster than most of us can imagine today. So why does this matter to us now? Because it shows just how recent the modern idea of childhood actually is. The idea that children should have years dedicated to play, school, and slow personal development is, historically speaking, a very new invention, mostly shaped over the last 150 to 200 years. For most of human history, children were small workers, apprentices, and caretakers, essential members of the family economy from a very young age. It wasn't necessarily worse, it was just different, shaped entirely by survival. So next time you complain about doing the dishes or taking out the trash, just remember, an ancient kid your age might have spent the whole day farming, fetching water, and learning a trade, all before sunset.
If you found this fascinating, hit like, subscribe for more deep dives into human history and behavior, and let me know in the comments, would you